Very good afternoon, children. In today's science class, we are going to continue the 12th lesson, that is producing and storing food. Now, I want everyone to take your science book and turn to the page 66. 66. 12th chapter, producing and storing food. So, in this chapter, we saw what is meant by food crops, fiber crops, and what are the steps to uh, grow crops. First, what we have to do: plowing, improving fertility, right? So first point we saw plowing means digging up the soil. For what purpose? To loosen the soil. Why we are loosening the soil? Because the plants, the roots of the plants, it has to breathe it nicely. It will go deeper into the ground. It will search for its nutrients, right? Next, improving fertility. We saw two kinds of nutrients. What are they? Manure and fertilizers. Manure means natural soil nutrients. Fertilizers means man-made nutrients. Okay. Then in page number 67, in page number 67, we saw sowing seeds. How to sow the seeds. Next, we'll move on to the third topic, that is fourth topic, that is irrigation. Okay, children. Okay. It's in page number 67. Okay. Irrigation. Watering crops is called irrigation. Please underline this statement. Watering crops. That means, yes, splashing waters on the crops. Okay, neer paichardu. That is said to be irrigation. Nature irrigates crop fields by bringing rain, but often that is not enough. Then we use water from rivers, lakes, wells, and ponds. The water is carried to the fields by canals or by pipes. We also use groundwater drawn out with the help of tube wells for irrigation. See, actually, nature is giving water. In what way? Yes, a rain. Okay, even though that rain also, it will come only for the season. But each and every day we will not get rain. So during that time, what we have to do? So we can get water from the rivers, lakes, ponds, through pipe or through canals. Okay. Next, there are many ways of irrigating crop fields. Water can be allowed to run freely through the fields, or it can be made to drip slowly through holes in pipes. You will learn about different methods of irrigation later. See how to irrigate the crops. There are many ways. Okay. See, we can just freely make the water run through the fields. That is one type. Another type is we can make the water drip slowly, like a drop in the in the pipes. Okay, so you can see this picture. Now you can see here the water flows freely, and this thing you can see through the pipe, the water drips slowly, drop by drop. Okay, next page number 68. Here a picture they have given some common weeds. What is meant by weeds? Shall we learn this? Yes. So weeds means actually unwanted plants which grows in crop fields. Okay. Uh, when you start growing crops, some particular crops in a field, not only that particular crops will grow. You can see some unwanted plants. Okay, it will grow there. That is said to be uh, weeds. Weeds. Okay. Now here, Okay, first one, protecting crops. How to protect the crops? Crops have to be protected from rats, insects, birds and diseases. Of course, rats, insects, birds and all, it will eat up the crops, and we will not get crops, the gain of the crops. Okay, birds are usually scared away. Pesticides are used to get rid of the other harmful organisms. Pesticides are chemicals made in factories. You will learn more about chemicals in the next three chapters. Things like Baygon and Hit used to get rid of mosquitoes and cockroaches or pesticides. Normally in Tamil we used to say pesticide is Puchikolli. So you can, I think you might have seen Baygon Hit spray on to kill mosquitoes, cockroaches. Okay, all these things are mixed with chemicals, and all these chemicals are made in factories. Okay, and these pesticides are used to kill, what to say, these birds, not only the birds, insects which eat up the crops. So what happen, even when the birds comes to eat the crops, so the chemicals which is mixed with the plant, it will be eaten by the birds. So the birds may die, or when the birds lays eggs, its shells will become a very, what to say, thin. Okay, easily it will break. Okay, then next, unwanted plants sometimes grow in crop field. These plants are called weeds. Please underline this. I already told you, unwanted crops, plants are said to be weeds. Weeds are removed from fields to protect crops. Yes. So to protect crops, what the farmers will do, they will pluck the weeds. Otherwise, they compete with crops for water and nutrients from the soil. They can be pulled out or killed with the help of chemicals. See what happened, no? These weeds, these weeds, it will take the nutrients from the soil and it will suck up the water from the soil. So we are not pouring water for the weeds. We are irrigating water for the crops. So what will happen if we left the weeds on the farm field? The weeds will take up all the nutrients from the soil and water from the soil. So that's why they will pluck up all the weeds. Next, pesticides are useful for protecting crops, but there is a bad side to them. They pollute the soil, and from the soil they are washed off into water bodies. They are non-biodegradable. Underline this green color word, non-biodegradable. N-O-N, non, B-I-O, bio, D-E-T, non-biodegradable, G-R-A, gray, D-A-B-L-E, double, non-biodegradable, meaning they cannot be broken down by natural decomposers. So they stay on in the soil and water. They are very harmful for our health and for the environment. See, actually, these pesticides, no, we have a bad side for it, because the pesticides, which is made up of chemicals, it will affect the soil. So what happens? The soil, if it is washed away, those soil and the chemicals will be mixed up with the water bodies and it will pollute. Normally, pesticides are non-biodegradable. That means it cannot be broken down by the natural decomposers. Okay, so they stay on the soil and water, and they are very harmful for our health. Not only for our health, even for the environment. Okay, you can see the picture, this picture, spraying pesticides over crop. See how they are spraying the pesticides over the crops. Chemicals, these pesticides are mixed with, made up of chemicals. Okay, next page. You can see this page. Crops can be cut and gathered by hand or with the help of a harvester. See, this women is women is cutting the crop with the help of a knife. By hand also we can gather the crops, and by using this harvester, using this also we can gather crops. Okay, now next topic is harvesting. Harvesting means when crops are ready, they are cut and gathered. This is called harvesting. Underline. Okay, so Pongal we are celebrating now. Ulavar Tirunal, right? Pongal. Yes. Okay. For what? During the seasonally they used to harvest. Okay. Harvesting can be done by hand or with the help of a machine called harvester. Actually, this machine is said to be harvester. Okay, then next. After cereal crops are gathered, the grain is separated by a process called threshing. Okay, so after the after the crops or cereal crops are gathered, the next process is they will separate the grain and they will take out the outer skin of the grains. That process is said to be threshing. Threshing, threshing, underline. Next, the crop is struck against something hard or farm animals are made to walk over it. Okay, machines called threshers can also be used. Then the outer cover of the grain and the other things mixed with it are separated. So everything will be separated. This process is called winnowing. Actually, separating the cereal crops and the grain, cereal crops are actually after the crops are gathered, the grain is separated. Okay, that is said to be threshing, that process. Next process is when the outer cover of the grain and other things mixed with it, if we are separating, that process is said to be winnowing. Underline this. Winnowing, winnowing. The grain is dropped from a height in such a way that the wind blows away the light cover and bits of straw. See, the grain how is dropped from a height in such a way. Wind will blow and it will just blows away the light covers. Okay, and bits of straw also which is mixed up with the thing. You can see separating the grain. Separating the grain. This process is threshing. They are using the thresher. This is thresher. Next, here you can see winnowing means the outer cover of the grain and the other things, like what to say, other things, dust particles which is mixed in the grains. So separating those things are said to be winnowing. Can you see a woman is doing a winnowing process? See, even in our home, our mother used to do this process. Yes. Okay. Next. See, you can see there here, dried food can be stored for a long time. Dried food. Can you see plums? That means dried grapes, kasuri methi, okay, and dried chili. See, all these things, it can be used for a long time. Dried food. So next thing is storing. How we will store the food? Food has to be stored well so that it does not get spoiled. Yes, it is generally spoiled by insects and microorganisms. All organisms need warmth and moisture to live. So, two ways of protecting food from harmful organisms are drying and cooling. Underline. Drying and cooling. So, definitely food will be spoiled when we are not properly storing it. Okay, it will be spoiled by insects and microorganisms. Okay, because microorganisms need something to live, like warm or moisture. So there are two ways to get rid of this. First way is drying, second thing is cooling. Next, Grains and pulses do not have much moisture in them, so they do not get spoiled as easily as do fruit and vegetables. They are generally dried and stored in sacks and bins. Fruit and vegetables are stored in cold storages, which are like refrigerated rooms. They can be stored much longer if they are frozen. Yes, actually, grains, pulses, cereals, and all, it will not have a moisture in them. Moisture means eerapadam. It will not have, so it will not get easily spoilt. But fruits and vegetables and all, normally it will have a moisture in it, so easily it will get spoiled. So those things we can keep it, store it in refrigerated room, that is like a cool room, fridge. Okay, for a long time. If they are frozen, we can use it. Vegetables and many other kinds of food can be stored for a long time if they are dried. Puppet, chips, methi, and chilies are some examples. See, pickling is another way of storing meat. Pickling. Meat storing. MEAT, meat storing. Pickling. Meat means curry. See, fish and vegetables, meat and all, if we want to use for a long time, we can make it as a pickle. Food is often pickled in salt, vinegar, oil, and other things. Yes, salt, vinegar, oil, and all, it will make the food to be same consistency or same taste without spoil for a long time. Salt takes away moisture from food. Yes. Have you noticed dried fish and all curved? How they are just doing that, making it by using salt only. So, and microorganisms cannot grow in oil and vinegar. Microorganisms, it will not go in oil and vinegar. While making pickles, mango pickles and all, they will use more oil and vinegar. Okay. Next, another way is canning. Canning. Canning is another way of storing food. Food is first heated to kill more microorganisms. First, food is heated to kill all the microorganisms. Okay. Next, it is packed in airtight cans or bottles so that microorganisms cannot enter into that. Okay, you can see here airtight container here. This is pickling method, this is canning. Can you able to understand? Children, I think so you all have understood this lesson. Okay, please go through each and every page, each and every word. Definitely for your annual examination you will get the questions from inside. Please learn, children. Don't waste your time. Thank you all.